One Zambia, one nation. Welcome to the news. To present, my name is Henry Himonde. The headlines in our news. Council of Churches in Zambia commends government. Zicta warns public against NAPSA scammers. World Bank funds Kawe Cooperative. And construction of mini hospital in Kalabo's Liu Award on schedule. The news in detail. The Council of Churches in Zambia has commended government for initiating several economic developmental programs. Council of Churches in Zambia President Saulo Sipaika, who led some members for a meeting at State House, cited the recruitments in various sectors and the increased Constituency Development Fund CDF. And President Hakainde Hichilema reaffirmed government's commitment towards economic reconstruction and restoration of unity. Here are the details.
President Hakainde Hichilema has continued with his engagements with various stakeholders in the country. Today, the president met a delegation from the Council of Churches in Zambia, led by its president, Saulo Sipaika, at State House.
The second big leg we're working on is economic reconstruction, to support the social sectors. Because you are a church, you need to say it. If the economy is not working well, no institution will work well in this country. Not even the church, because the tithe will be reducing continuously because members will not be able to support the work of God. So one of our prime agendas as we work to reunite the country is to run in tandem on the platform of unity, then accelerate economic development.
The president has assured government's resolve to work with the church in various sectors of the economy.
We want to be amongst the first African countries that will have reticulated water across the country. Water and sanitation, including flush toilets, even in the rural school. How do we do it on our farms? Some of us have farms. It's the same. It's deliberate. That way provided guidance. So if someone complains, President lied to you that the decisions are all made locally. Yes, they're made locally, but we want them to include water and sanitation to maternate wing. Every clinic must have a maternate wing. Deliberate.
And the CCZ leadership has hailed government for growing the economy based on national values and principles.
The people of this country, some of the great strides that you have done with your government. I think to mention a few, I think the employment of the health workers. We are looking at also the employment of teachers in our country. We are looking at a number of issues, the police service, the collection service, the military, the officers in migration department that have been really employed. These in turn will really bring development to our nation. It's not on their personal level, but as they aspire to work for this nation, the great mother Zambia. And with such, we want to commend your government to say, job well done, Mr.
The church has since assured government of its continued prayers and engagement on various national issues that promote peace and unity in the country.
Reflected on economic issues and other related matters that are of concern to the Zambian people, so that at the end of the day, the rich, the poor can lead dignified lives. So I would say overall, we were well received. We had a good conversation, what we would call the conventional box conversation.
So Kalan Muchima reporting for ZANIS in Lusaka.
We move to Southern Province, where Vice President Mtalena Lumango has challenged engineers to use their expertise in ensuring quality work is observed during construction of infrastructure in the country. And Engineering Institute of Zambia President Abel Chungo has called for the establishment of the Office of the Engineer General to help regulate the profession. Here are the details.
These are engineers drawn from various towns across the country who are meeting in Livingstone for their Engineering Institute Annual General Conference. Vice President Mutalena Lumango has graced the conference with the call on engineers to use the expertise to find solutions to some of the challenges the country is facing.
Increased economic productivity only happens where engineering has become part of society. You agree with me, sir? Oh, we can go on. He comes from Rwanda. I'm sure you don't understand what I'm saying. That means one cannot talk of increased agriculture productivity, mining, I'm looking at the young man, young engineer, energy production, I'm looking at the minister, including green economy, sustainable construction or manufacturing without engineering. Therefore, as a country, we must strengthen our engineering base, engineering knowledge, application, and continuous innovation.
Various speakers took to the floor to address the more than 300 delegates.
The engineering profession has the ability to contribute to the development of any country. And the government of the Republic of Zambia acknowledges this fact. That is why, as a ministry, we want to foster more collaboration, especially in view of our current economic situation, where we are all called upon to work in government's new developmental mantra of doing more with less resources.
Further, earnestly appeal to you to consider creating an Office of Engineer General. This will give us a stronger position in monitoring the practice and safeguarding the interests and future of the Zambian people. With the support of our representative in Cabinet, we have submitted a proposal for the consideration.
Lemeli Kando, reporting for ZANIS in Livingstone.
The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, says over 62,000 Zambians have been affected by floods this year. DMMU National Coordinator Gabriel Pollen says there is need to devise better ways of managing climate change-induced disasters, which have caused a number of deaths, with lightning accounting for over 20 deaths. Dr. Pollen pointed out that road infrastructure, bridges and crossing points have been damaged, resulting in many people and areas across the country being cut off. The DMMU National Coordinator was speaking when he received assorted food items from African Milling destined for Malawi to assist flood victims in that country. And African Milling General Manager Jomo Matululu said his organization has joined Zambia's aid response to help Malawians affected by Cyclone Freddy.
Over 62,000 Zambians have been adversely affected by heavy rains or by flooding across the country. We've recorded substantial damage to critical infrastructure across the country, and we're talking about public infrastructure related to transportation and networks and communication. 93 road infrastructure damaged across the country, several bridges and crossing points damaged across the country that have completely cut out communities and isolated them from accessing public services across the country. Experience this scale of devastation is that we're focusing on recovery, reconstruction, and rehabilitation. And through the emblem of Build Back Better, we're trying to look at mechanisms of building resilience across these different communities. For example, can we design our bridges better so they can better withstand the flow of water?
African Milling Limited has taken initiative to join the Zambian government through the DMMU, the Disaster Management Unit, to support Malawians who have suffered from the devastating floods resulting from the severe cyclonic Cyclone Freddy. African Milling has donated 1,200 25 kg breakfast maize meal as part of our corporate social responsibility. The Zambian government's relief efforts in Malawi is highly commendable.
The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, has cautioned members of the public accessing their 20% partial benefits from the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, to be wary of scammers offering enticing get-your-money-quick schemes. ZICTA Vice Board Chairperson Milna Mukoni stated that NAPSA has made it clear that it has not engaged any agents in the payment process. Therefore, people need to be cautious.
It has become the busiest office in the country. Long queues have continued to characterize NAPSA offices nationwide. In Choma, queues at the NAPSA offices start as early as 6 hours as beneficiaries hope to make the first clients of the day.
I came here somewhere around 06 hours and I'm still in the queue.
I came here around 7 hours for this issue. Actually, we were told that we can have our 20% of the monies at NAPSA. But since 7 hours, they haven't attended to us yet.
Beneficiaries are eager to invest the funds in various projects.
I'm planning to buy a plot. Instead of getting a loan somewhere, and it has become easy for me.
I just want to build, I finish up my construction and start developing other projects.
NAPSA has also provided online platforms for beneficiaries to process their partial withdrawals.
Those who can manage with the facilities, try to do it from the comfort of your offices or homes. For the relatively bigger employers with a high number of employees, for those of them, we've already identified most of them so that we're able to train key people from their institutions. We will train key people from their institutions who in turn try to manage their members of staff. Because even them, it's in their interest that their workers don't leave their premises to come through to NAPSA to come and sign up, so that they do it from there. Those institutions won't lose man hours.
However, ZICTA has cautioned citizens to be wary of scammers.
This is a very big warning to those that intend to get NAPSA, that part payment that is being given, to ensure that they become cyber secure and knowledgeable, that you do not get your information and give to people that claim they can help you. NAPSA has published a very correct way of how you can access the funds. So many people will be told, I can help you get NAPSA, so you should avoid such good news, such quick wins.
They have not appointed any agent according to their communication. So no making any arrangement with strangers. If someone calls you and they're trying to scam you, you can use our USSD code *707 and report that matter.
Kwakumelo Stali, ZANIS, in Choma District, Southern Province.
Also in the news tonight, the Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance has called for increased support towards infrastructure development for the judiciary. Committee Chairperson Tasila Lungu says most of the court infrastructure visited in the Southern Province is old and requires urgent attention. Ms. Lungu was speaking in Choma when she led a committee, the committee of members in paying a courtesy call on Southern Province Minister Cornelius Mwetwa. We have more in the following report.
These are members of the Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance touring the Choma subordinate courts and local courts to appreciate the various challenges that the judiciary is facing. The committee members who paid a courtesy call on Southern Province Minister have highlighted a number of issues found on the ground, with infrastructure being the main challenge.
Just that they don't have enough infrastructure. Staffing issues, whenever there's a vacancy, they have to go back to PSMD.
To stay in there. So I think there's need that in future, if there was, you are to do audit for both male and female, it should have some sanitation, because even when they are prisoners, there is need for to answer the call of nature.
Shelter for witnesses
especially in the rain season, there's literally no place, and they have indicated to the committee that they have applied through CDF, and this committee wishes to ask that maybe you can prevail over this issue because it's of paramount importance.
And Southern Province Minister Cornelius Mwetwa is happy that the committee members have seen the challenges that Choma district is facing under judiciary.
These tours, the study tours, the information you collect and make recommendations to for Parliament to be able to inform the executive actually goes a long way in informing government policy and legislation. Issues you have raised here, issues to do with infrastructure, issues to do with the disconnect between the operations and functionality of the local courts and the magistrates vis the mandate which is given to the local courts to adjudicate, for instance, over issues to do with pregnancies. Yet they don't have the mandate to give orders over child maintenance. I think that is very, very important, and I'm sure that when we make recommendations to the House, and the House informs the Executive, such are the important things that we should be able to work on.
Adequate judicial infrastructure will surely help the backlog of cases. Kalunga Msonda, ZANIS News, Choma District, Southern Province.
In Eastern Province, the Parliamentary Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs says there is need to prioritize issues that directly deal with interventions to reduce poverty. Committee Vice Chairperson Maureen Mawunga, who is also a Member of Parliament for Mfuwe constituency in Love Shimanda district, says it is important that interventions to reduce poverty are given priority when developing district integrated development plans, IDPs. Meanwhile, Committee Chairperson Newton Samakai says IDPs developed by local authorities and stakeholders need to reflect the needs of people. Mr. Samakai said the committee was touring various districts to learn and understand the challenges being faced by local communities. The committee is in Eastern Province to interrogate and review the district integrated development plans. ZANIS News continues. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo has commissioned earth-moving equipment purchased using the 2022 Constituency Development Fund, CDF, worth 6.7 million kwacha. Mr. Nkombo says President Hakainde Hichilema's emphasis on decentralization is bearing fruit in all the constituencies around the country. We move to Central Province, where the World Bank, through Zambia Agribusiness and Trust Project, has given Kabwe Farmers Cooperative Society over 1.4 million kwacha to procure irrigation equipment for horticultural farming and a refrigerated truck. The loan will also facilitate value addition to their produce and create market linkages. Now, with a few days remaining before April 28th, when the country observes Kenneth Kaunda Day, in memory of the late first president of Zambia, senior residents of Chinsali district are already remembering him as a source of inspiration to many. Mukuka Chimfwempa, a former pupil of Dr. Kaunda, says the late freedom fighter instilled knowledge in many people while he was a teacher at Lubwa Mission. Here's the rest of the story from Henry Lumpa Jr.
The late First Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, who died in 2021, has continued to be remembered by many people through his patriotism and his fight for independence. Ahead of Kenneth Kaunda Day to be commemorated on the 28th of April, Some senior residents that shared his vision and interacted with him in his birthplace of Chinsali have described the late president as an inspiration to many Chinsali residents. 91-year-old Mkuka Chifwamba, a former pupil of Dr. Kaunda at Lower Mission and also a freedom fighter, has called on Chinsali residents to remain proud of their son of the soil by safeguarding his legacy.
He was a good politician who had a passion for Zambia. He loved Zambia so much that he sacrificed. Therefore, I would encourage you, my fellow Chinsalians, to uphold what Kaunda has left for us.
Meanwhile, Herring Sabi, another senior resident, shared some of the positive impacts that Dr. Kenneth Kaunda left and the significance of celebrating his day.
There was no lacking of jobs during his reign. A lot of people were employed and were engaged in a lot of economic activities, especially farming was at its peak. Nobody actually slept with anger. The people of Chinsali should maintain the rigors of President Kaunda.
The late first Republican president, who was born here at Lower Mission in Chinsali and had his umbilical cord buried at this site, died on the 17th of June 2021 at the age of 97. Henry Lumpa Jr., ZANIS in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
And in Western Province, after so many years of staying without access to a health facility nearby, people of Sishe Kamowad in the Liua constituency in Kalabo district will soon have a modern mini hospital. Sascom Construction Solutions Limited, the contractor hired to build the health facility, is confident that the mini hospital will be completed on schedule. Here are the details from Tine Mbewe.
Access to healthcare services is critical to good health. Yet rural communities face a variety of access barriers that include lack of health facilities. In Sishekano Ward of Liua constituency in Kalabo district in Western Province, government is constructing the first ever mini hospital whose works were inspected by Kalabo district commissioner Musangu Njamba.
They are progressing anyway. You can say now they are digging that septic tank. That means that the whole building is already done. So what is remaining here is just laying down pipes for water and connecting all the buildings to electricity, which is solar electricity.
Kalabo District Chairperson David Nyundo said the health facility, once completed, will enable people of Liua to conveniently and confidently access healthcare services.
Libonda is a distance. Imagine referring a case of a maternity case from Libonda to Kalabo. You have to go by water transport up to the bridge along Mongo Kalabo Road, then by road again to Kalabo. So at least this health facility will help the community to get the best health facility care.
And the constructor, Suscon Construction Solutions Limited, site manager Enoch Chisenga, said although the company was facing transportation challenges due to the terrain of the area, the company is confident of handing over the facility as scheduled.
Our aim is to finish on schedule, so the works are progressing well.
Meanwhile, District Health Director Dr. Neto said the completion of the mini hospital will have a positive impact on the provision of healthcare services in the area.
The project to be finished this year. The impact that it will have on our communities will be that it will reduce the distances our clients have to walk to seek basic health services, for example.
The mini hospital, once complete, will help cut on long distances that people of Liua have been covering to the nearest district hospital in Kalabo, which is about 60 kilometers away across the Granginga River. Tinembe for ZANIS News, Kalabo District, Western Province.
In education news, the Zambia National Commission for UNESCO is working on an inventory of intangible cultural practices in Southern Province, such as the Kuyavila of the Tonga and Ila people. Namwala District Commissioner Ephraim Shandahu says the inventory of intangible cultural heritage practices needs to be promoted in order to preserve culture. Details in this report.
leza ndalumba lumbe bali batatu babama mbubagangi gamulunga naje lumba na manengwa leza bulango ndalumba batatu babama mbubagaya la mulamba.
Preservation of culture is important in any given society because it gives us a sense of identity and belonging to our different ethnic groupings. Zambia is a signatory to the 2003 UNESCO Convention of Intangible Cultural Heritage, which is an indication of its commitment to preserve intangible cultural heritage. With this backdrop, UNESCO is working with the Ministry of Tourism under its Culture Department to inventory intangible cultural heritage, ICH. The inventory exercise is meant to take inventory of traditional practices such as the Kuyawila poetry of the Tonga and Ila people of Southern Province, particularly Namola and Monze, which are currently being piloted.
We need to safeguard our cultural heritage, and this is the reason why, working with the local communities both in Monze and Namwala, we thought of writing a proposal to UNESCO, and fortunately UNESCO funded us, and this is the funds that we are using to implement the inventorying of Kuyawila. The intangible cultural heritage that we are inventorying actually is Kuyawila.
Dr. Samson Kantini is Programs Officer under the Zambia National Commission for UNESCO.
And the idea now of inventorying it is to ensure that the younger generations that are coming, one day they should be able to access it in its original state. Because if it is not inventoried in its authentic and original state, it becomes adulterated. So
the Namola District Administration is elated about the inventory program for the intangible cultural heritage.
Culture is our heritage, and it needs to be preserved by all means because it gives us a basis on which we build any other development that we may think of. For this purpose, we have chosen what we call Kuyawila, because the Kuyawila is an expression of one's joy, or one's sorrow, or one's achievements. It's all coined up in if you like, a poem.
The Kuyawila culture practice is one of the many forms of documenting our cultural heritage. For ZANIS, I'm Wairinda Piri reporting in Namala District of Southern Province.
And finally, Zanaco has handed over a check worth 150,000 kwacha towards the hosting of this year's Ukusefya Pangwena traditional ceremony of the Bemba people. Speaking during the handover ceremony in Lusaka, Zanaco Head of Client Solutions, Marketing and Corporate Communications, Chandaka Tongo, reaffirmed the bank's continued support to promoting the country's culture and heritage. Ms. Katongo explained that this is because the bank considers tradition and culture as key towards promoting the growth of the tourism sector. And Ukusefya Pangwena Lusaka Organizing Committee Chairperson Bwalya Chitawa announced that this year's ceremony will be held from 10th to 12th August 2023 as it marks 10 years of Chief Chitimkulu Mwinelu Bemba on the throne. Dr. Chitaba thanked Zanaco for the contribution, adding that it will go a long way in supporting the various activities lined up for the event. On that traditional note, we come to the end of the news, but before we go, let's take another look at the top stories in our news. Council of Churches in Zambia commends government. ZICTA warns the public against NAPSA scammers. World Bank funds Kawe Cooperative to the tune of 1.4 million kwacha. And construction of mini hospital in Kalabo's Liua Ward on schedule. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire news production crew, my name is Henry Himonde. Goodbye.
you.